Alright, so YouTube is good, and I almost don't want to touch anything because the camera is in a pretty good place. Let's see how we do over here. Sure. So because my YouTube camera is pretty good, my Facebook camera's on the good morning to Facebook. All right. So see if I can adjust this. Nope. Without screwing that up. All right. Hold on. Morning. So that's good. YouTube only screwed up a little bit, but that's usually how it starts. Oh my goodness. Well, look at that. All right. We're good. Oh, let's see. If that messed anything up. All right. So that looks pretty good. And I'm early, so there's probably nobody here with me yet. Nobody yet. All right. So we're just going to take a little second. We have just a couple more minutes yet. I'm going to just wait a bit to get started because normally I'm running late. No one's here yet. So pretty normal. Pretty normal for me. YouTube's popping on. And if you're watching this later, sorry, just kind of try and get yourself prepared and together. And it really helps to be plugged in better there. Good morning on YouTube. I got nobody over on Facebook yet, but it's getting close. Oh, good job, Glenn. Go ahead. So I posted this puppy last night, and I hope she's not going to get too crazy right now. But I'm going to go ahead. Oh, good morning, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get started talking at least. So for those of you who've been practicing with me for a while, you know that restorative yoga is not really not my thing. So it's wonderful. Don't mistake what I'm about to say. But I don't typically do it a whole bunch. I tend to keep my personal practice, my breathing and meditation, kind of on top of an asana practice. But today we're going to try and combine all of these things, right? So this is almost as restorative as I get. If you like restorative yoga and you want to practice it with me, definitely pick up on the retreats, the virtual retreats that I've been doing, because we do a good little restorative practice at the end. And it's probably the only time you'll see a true restorative practice from me. So if you like that sort of thing, keep your eyes out and make sure you join us on those particular days when I do those. And so far I've done two. I've done one last winter and one this past July something. I forget when we did it exactly, or June, midway through. Right? So we'll probably do another one in the fall or later, maybe. And I chose today to do this more chill class, just because it felt like kind of a crazy week. And we were supposed to actually be looking at having a tropical storm come through this weekend. So it was going to be sort of gray and rainy, and I could lay around and do nothing. So I thought restorative yoga would be good. Turns out it's going to be sunny, so whatever. It's still good. It's still yoga. It's all still good. So remember, if you do need something a little bit more intense, you can always bump things up, right? If you wanted to, you could basically sit and breathe the whole time that I'm going through all of this. So it's always at your discretion anyway. But today we're barely going to get up off the floor. That does not mean it's going to be easy. Some poses can be challenging, even if you're not standing up necessarily. And I posted a picture of Shavasana, of a woman laying in Shavasana for the week, right? So I've been posting these crazy poses that look so amazing, like you can put their body in that place, right? But this pose looks like nothing, but mentally is probably the hardest one to do, right? Because the mind wants to wander and do stuff, right? And when we're in Shavasana, or in your final meditation, or you can even take a seated meditation, of course. But the work is to not let the brain go do stuff while you're sitting there, right? The brain gets to rest and be present as well. So that's really the tough part about an easier practice, is to keep your mind focused, because it's not as challenging for the brain. Oh, turn my foot this way and put my shoulder that way and do that, it doesn't have all those elements. So you have to really work to keep your mind in this place. So that's what we're going to do today. Remember to listen to your body anyway. Like I say, things aren't necessarily going to be easy. And say, even just in laying down in Shavasana, you may not love to have your legs straight. You may need a bolster under your knees. So if you have a bolster, if you have a block, any other props that will help you today, certainly take those. And let's go ahead and get started. And we're actually going to start laying down. So go ahead and recline back on your mat. And make yourself comfortable. So again, if you prefer to have a bolster underneath your knees, if you need to prop up your head, I see people propping up their heads sometimes in Shavasana at the end of class. So definitely prop yourself up here. But just go ahead and lay back and close your eyes. So get yourself aligned, get yourself comfortable, relax back, release your shoulders. And close your eyes. I think I said that already. Close your eyes. And just take a moment to check in with your body. Feel your body against the floor. Notice any areas that might be a little bit tight. Maybe you worked a little too hard over the week. And just remember to honor and respect those places and the signals that your body gives you. And allow your awareness to move to your breath without doing a thing, change nothing. I know sometimes that's hard, just paying attention to it makes you start to breathe a little deeper. But see if you can just do what naturally occurs. So you're aware of your default state, so to speak. And then laying back here, let your elbows rest on the floor, but bring one hand, doesn't matter which one, to your upper belly. So just kind of below your rib cage here. And as you deepen your breath, see if you can allow this hand to rise and fall. So directing that air deeper into your lungs, letting your upper belly rise and fall with the breath. And then leaving that hand where it is, go ahead and take your other hand to your chest. And see if you can feel the natural lift or the rise and fall between your hands. And does it occur at the same time, or is there a little bit of delay one to the other? Feeling the back side of your body against the floor. So the hands are feeling the front, and your backside pressing against the floor is giving you that feedback back there. And then take the hand that's resting on your belly and lightly touch your fingertips to your throat. Still keep your elbows relaxed so your shoulders can be down, but see if you can feel the flow of the energy, of the prana, of the breath, whatever you feel like calling it today. And just feel the flow, the rhythm, the pace. Let yourself be completely present in just the breath. Releasing your hands from touching your body. Let them just rest back to the floor again. And here, see if you can stay with that same intention, that same focus without using your hands. And then we're going to keep that same focus, that same intention as we take the feet flat to the floor if they're not already. Keep your eyes closed even, unless you need to open them. And slowly make your way up to a seated position. Take your time, move intentionally. Even just getting up should be a piece of your practice. And when you're in your seated position, of course, modifying sitting on a block here if you need, adjusting your sit bones so we can sit tall. And now that we're upright, what does the breath feel like flowing in that natural rhythm and pattern that we've created here? Let's go ahead and begin to add movement in. So extending the arms out to the sides with your next inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. And then exhale to bring them back down again. Let's go like that again. One more time. We'll come back to the top. Inhale. Exhale, just your right hand back to the floor and take a little tip over to the right. Take a big full breath here. Feel your right side ribs expand. And then with the inhale, come back up to center and take it over to the left. Nice big full breath here. Coming back up to the top. Let's go once more on each side like that. So exhale left, right. Moving a little deeper into the stretch if you can. And then coming back to center. Exhale over to the left. We'll come back up to the middle, inhale. And then exhale, releasing the arms. You can absolutely leave your eyes closed here if that's where you're at in your headspace. We're going to make our way around onto hands and knees. So take your time. If your eyes are closed, just kind of check in that the wrists under the ankles, the wrists are under the shoulders, and then knees are underneath the hips. Spreading the fingers nice and wide. Moving with the breath here. On the inhale, drop the belly toward the floor. And with the exhale, round the spine toward the ceiling. So let's go in and out like that. Nice and easy up and down the spine. Sorry, you guys. Let's take one more breath like that. And then come on back to a center here. From here, we're going to go ahead and take the left hand, palm face up, weave it underneath the right, and you can simply drop down to the elbow. It's early, so if that's your twist, that's your twist. If you want a little bit more, take the left hand. All right. Take the left hand and slide it over so you drop down to your shoulder. And this may be enough. Be sure to stay even on your knees. Keeping the spine nice and long, you can use the arms into the floor to move a little deeper into the twist if you like. We'll take another nice big breath here. And then gently make your way back up into your all fours. And we'll do the second side. So the right hand lifts, weaves under, down to your elbow maybe, or all the way down to the shoulder. Same idea on this side, staying even on the knees, tall through your spine, comfortable with your neck and head here. Using the floor as much or little as you like. So take one more breath here. And then we'll gently make our way back up onto hands and knees. So from here, let's go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. And allow yourself to sink in here. So if you do have props and you want to use them, definitely check it out. You can prop up so that you're less in the pose, right? If you kind of slide it underneath your belly. You can take your hands back by your heels and let your shoulders roll forward more. You can stack your fists or use a block to rest your head. Even if you want to move a little bit deeper into the hips, maybe open up your knees, sinking the hips back a little deeper. So keeping the rest of the body where it is, allow your arms to stretch long in front. See if you can feel your hips sit back as your fingertips reach forward. And then instead of being on the four corners of the hands, let's come up onto the finger pads, lifting the heel of the hand away from the floor. Pull your shoulder blades a little closer together on your back. Feel your armpits hollow out. And then take your fingertips and see if you can inch them a little bit further forward than you thought. At the same time, think hips back. And then keeping that extension and length, reground the four corners of your hands again here. And let's lift up into a down dog.
And just allow yourself to wiggle and stretch as much as you want. So we do this every first down dog, but maybe make it especially delicious today. Gently stretching into the body. And then allowing yourself to sink into it. So deepen into the hamstring stretch, pressing the chest back. Sink into the heels, feeling that nice stretch in the lower legs. Let your head rest, feeling gravity act on your neck and spine. From here, we're going to step the right foot roughly halfway to the hands. Let the toes turn out to the right. We're going to roll to the outside edge of the left foot. So the right hand can stay on the hip or extend toward the ceiling here. Four corners of the left hand into the floor. You can always drop the left knee if that's just too much. We're going to release that, coming back to our down dog. And then let's go to the second side. So step the left foot about halfway up. The toes turn out. Roll to the outside edge of the right foot. Left hand to the hip or toward the ceiling. Stacking the shoulders. And then we'll release that back to down dog. And then from here, this time, step the right foot all the way through to the hands and come to lunge. Dropping the back knee, adjust, prop, cushion your knee, whatever you need here. Let's take the right leg straight. Shoulders down and back. And then bend back into the knee and let the hips descend. Opening your chest here, relax your shoulders down. Continue to let your hips drift toward the floor without shifting off to the side. And let's release that, taking the leg straight again. And maybe you can find a little bit deeper fold. Bend back into the knee. Let the hips descend, your chest lifts. And this time, bring the right hand to the hip and add in a nice little twist here. So if you wanted to bump it up, you could maybe have your back knee away from the floor. You can get a little bit more intense with the twist in any way or another. Right? Just gonna listen to what your body needs from you today. We're gonna release that side and make our way back to down dog. Let's move to the second side. So stepping the left foot forward, dropping the back knee, adjusting the ankle up underneath the knee here. Let's take the left leg straight. Finding the stretch on the second side here. Big full breaths, still connected. Where can you feel your breath work for you in this pose? Bending into the knee. Letting the hips descend and the chest lift. Still staying nice and square with the hips. Breathe into the tight spots. And then let's take the left leg straight again.
Think about maybe finding that deeper stretch. Using the breath to guide you. Bend back into the knee. Allowing the hips to maybe sink a little bit deeper, but still square. And then adding in the amount of twist you want. So maybe just left hand to the hip and a nice gentle twist around. Working your way a little deeper in one area or another, if that's what you want. We're going to release the twist. Lift the back knee this time here. And take the hands, walking them around into the center of a straddle fold. And then let yourself hang. So take a second, just make sure that your feet are comfortable, you feel nice and even and stable. And then just let your upper body hang. So let your head droop, you can grab opposite elbow here. Let yourself just release toward the floor. So bending the knees a little bit here, we're going to take the fingers and wrap them around the big toes here. Elbows are going to bend out to the sides to help the shoulders together on the back. You can pull against your toes and draw a little deeper. Maybe just taking the legs a little straighter is where the work is for you. So just find the stretch. And then release your toes. Take the fingers here to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull closer together on the back, the knuckles stretch away. So maybe straight down the back, maybe they lift away from the back a little bit. But keep the shoulders away from the ears. Find that length through your spine. Oh, and your hamstrings too. Let's release the hands back to the floor. And then instead of having your toes point forward, turn them out a bit. Connected to the breath here, let's exhale, bend into the right knee, let the hips kind of sink over there. And then inhale, come back to the middle, and exhale over to the left. So with the breath, side to side. Watch that the knee doesn't come in front of the toes. If you need to open your feet wider or just turn your toes in or out, check it out. Same direction, right? And maybe you can go a little deeper, so you might need to adjust your feet as you get a little warmer here. If you want to get fancy and flex the left foot toward the ceiling as you bend into the right knee. Same idea on the other side. Make it challenging. Find where you need the stretch. Make it challenging enough. So one more time on each side, really get in there as good as it's gonna get. And then come on back to center. Let your toes point forward again here. So the hands to the floor. If you need to bend your knees to get them there, certainly go ahead and bend your knees. We're gonna take the hands and walk them forward, bringing the hips low. And then bring them back again, walk back into your straddle. Do that again, forward. Letting the hips fall low, lower than you would in plank. Okay? And then back. One more time, all the way out. And back again.
here, let's take the hands and walk them back around toward the left foot, lunging toward the top of the mat.
And then stepping back into our down dog.
Let's go ahead and drop down to the knees and sit back in child's pose again. And just like with anything, if you still want to prop, certainly prop. If you're ready to move a little bit deeper, open the knees, sink the belly, hands back by the heels if that's what feels good today. Just kind of play around and see where you need to be. How is everybody? Feet, yeah. We'll stretch out the feet for sure. How are we doing over on YouTube? Good, good, good. So from child's pose here, let's go ahead and come to hands and knees. Turning the toes under. Try and get the toes flat to the floor back there. And then come to sit up on the heels. So you may feel a really intense stretch in the feet. And then when you release the toes, take them flat and just sit back on your heels again here. So if this is someplace you need to prop, maybe the block between your feet so your hips don't have to come so low. If you're warm enough already and you do want to move deeper, just open the knees and feet and kind of sit between. So options, of course, right? Come forward again, turn your toes under, and sit back on the heels. So if you did open your knees a little wider, maybe when you sit up on the heels like this, you may want to bring your knees back more into alignment. Just kind of play with it. Release the toes, sit back on the heels, feet flat. And again, kind of wherever you want to work with that. So one more time, turn the toes under. Take all 10 toes as flat to the floor as you can back there. Ideally, the heels are pointing toward the ceiling, and you sit back on the heels again. So just listen to your body, get a nice big stretch. And then release them, take the feet flat, and sit back. So wherever you are here, we want to take the knees and ankles wide enough so that the ankles are outside of the hips, right? And maybe your bottom touches the floor like it's nothing, right? Or maybe not. So you can either hang on space, which is totally fine to use gravity to allow yourself to move a little deeper, or you can sit up on a block. And you can take the block higher or lower depending on what your needs are here. So we're up tall here. I'm going to move back just a little bit so you don't lose me when I come forward as much as possible anyway. So the lower legs are going to do exactly what they're doing. You don't have to change a thing. We're going to come forward though, lay down on the belly, and press the pelvis down into the floor. So the tailbone turns toward the heels. You got a nice long lower back here. And then pressing up, it's as close as we get to a push-up today. And then sitting back. And maybe you're still propped up really high. As you go, if you want to bring the prop lower or lose it completely, that's fine, right? You're going to do that again. Come forward. Kind of like we did with our straddle, right? Forward and back. Press down into the hips like crazy here. See if you can use your belly to press it down rather than just squeezing your bottom. Push back up. Sitting back between the heels. Let's go once more like that. Forward. Down. Pressing into the floor.
And then let's press back up again and sit back between the heels. So this may be as intense as you want to be in this place. And again, you can still be propped up really high here if that's where you need to be. So if it becomes too much, come out, right? If you want to go a little bit deeper, we're going to see about going a little bit deeper though. So I'm going to move forward just again so I have some place to go when I'm moving. Okay? And I'm going to lose my block. If you are still seated up on a block, you want to keep your body upright, your upper body upright. But if you don't have a block, you might be able to go a little bit deeper. So taking the hands to the feet and maybe opening the chest a little bit here, leaning back just the slightest amount. The body weight is still even on the shins here, the lower legs. Okay? The hip may or may not be touching the floor yet, or ever, right? So from there, if that's not enough, of course, you can go a little bit deeper. Again, if you do not have a block underneath your butt, you don't want to leave your bottom really high and then drop back. So what if an elbow can touch the floor back there? Or two. So keeping the shins where they are. If your knees start to lift or go really wide, you're done. Your body that's enough, right? But maybe you can drop down to your shoulders here. And if you drop down to your shoulders, you can take your arms up overhead, maybe grabbing opposite elbow. So just kind of see where you are. Again, finding enough. And when you've moved a little bit deeper, but not great, maybe you pop up again. Okay? So wherever you've landed, take one more breath. And then nice and easy here, if you drop all the way down, come to elbows, from elbows back to your hands. And then upright. Nice and easy then, move forward, all fours. Take your time moving in and out of those deeper poses. Wiggling, rolling your ankles, stretching your legs, tapping your feet, any fun little thing that makes your legs happy again. And then let's go ahead and take a down dog. Just stretch it all back out again. Dropping back into all fours. And here, start by stepping your feet, say just outside of your wrists. Ish. So then your feet can be closer together, they can be further apart. I like to open my toes to the sides a little bit here to help, right? But you do what you need to do. We're gonna start to bend into the knees and come into a squat. So ideally, the heels are gonna be on the floor and your hips are gonna be wherever they go, right? You may need to open your feet a little wider. So moving into a nice deep stretch for your hips and your lower back. The more you lean forward, the less you feel like you're gonna fall on your bum, right? Press out with the arms, pull in with the legs. Find that stability. Lead your chest through. Maybe bring the palms together, maybe bring your thumbs to your chest. And if you haven't already, go ahead and roll back. Extend the legs out long, maybe bounce them around a little bit. Bring them back to life. And from here, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Making sure that we're sitting upright on the pelvis. Hang on to the ankles and draw the ankles in toward the groin. Let your chest open here, just releasing the inner hip. You can use your elbows to press down more. You can hinge forward, belly button to heels, maybe roughly-ish. With an inhale, let's make our way back up, and we're going to stretch the legs long in front. So flexing the feet, sit really tall here, adjust your seat if you feel like you're a little off, right? If you do sit on a block here, you want to make sure that the knees stay just a little bit bent. If your hips are too high, sometimes you can hyperextend your knees and get a little flat. So from here, extend the arms, reaching up, and then hinging forward. The hands fall wherever they fall. So maybe you touch your toes and maybe you don't. Take one more breath in your fold. And then with an inhale, make your way back up again. Releasing your hands. From here, opening the feet out into a straddle. So you can turn sideways on your mat or not. Find where is enough of a stretch and the toes point toward the ceiling. So this is a little bit like we were when we were in our standing straddle. So adjusting your feet to adjust the stretch. Really tall, belly in. Let's reach up. Rotate the belly around toward the left leg here, and then fold over the left leg. And just let your hands fall to either side of the leg. Right sit bone is grounded into the mat. Spine is tall. And allow yourself to fold over the leg wherever the fold ends up. If you want a little bit more sensation here for maybe like a twisting action, a little bit stretch for the lower back, press into the left hand and imagine pulling your belly button more toward the left thigh. We'll take one more breath here. With an inhale, make your way back up. Rotate around to the right and do the same thing. Keeping the pelvis rooted, the spine nice and tall. Folding wherever the fold is. And then pressing into the right hand so you can rotate the belly around. With an inhale, coming back up to the center again. Releasing the arms. Let's take the left hand, pin it up underneath the right thigh. And then reach the right arm up, and we're going to hinge over toward the left toes here. Forget toes for a moment anyway. Bringing the elbow more to the inner thigh. And then pressing against the inner thigh so you can now rotate your belly button toward the ceiling instead of the floor. Shoulder draws back. You get a great big stretch up the right side. Grounding the pelvis, extending out the crown of your head. With an inhale, come on back up to center. And we'll switch sides. So the right hand pins up underneath the left thigh. And we reach up and over. Bringing the elbow in to use the leverage against the thigh as we draw around. Coming back up on an inhale. And bringing the hands in the center here. So sit really tall. Lead with your chest rather than your arms. And hinge forward here, right in the middle. So of course, if you want a prop, take a prop. If the forearms come to the floor, if the forehead comes to the floor, lovely. Finding your stretch. Take one more breath here. And then we'll inhale and come back up again. Let's bring the legs back together. Maybe bounce around a little bit, bring life back into the legs. And then sitting tall here. So the legs are extended. You're upright on your pelvis. You've got that inner thigh rotation here. We're going to take the right foot flat to the floor. And you can absolutely leave the foot to the inside of the left leg, or you can hook it to the outside. We haven't gone crazy with our twist, but we have gone pretty intensely with the hips. So see what happens. Maybe your left leg needs to stay extended. We want to sit really tall and upright on the pelvis, right? So if you can keep that and bend your left knee, bring your heel in front of your right sit bone. You don't want to sit on the sit bone because then that would make your pelvis crooked, right? We don't want the pelvis to be crooked. Sitting tall, lifting your chest, relaxing your shoulders down and back. And this is good for the hips, right? If you want a little more, take the left arm, wrap it around the right leg here, and then the right hand's behind the back supporting the spine. So press into the right hand, you can pull with the left arm to move a little deeper into the twist. You decide. And we haven't gone crazy with twists today, so take your time, find where you need it. And then release the twist, keeping your legs as they are. So if your leg was a little bit more straight, see what you can do about bringing it back. Ideally, parallel to the top edge of your mat. If that isn't happening, don't necessarily worry about it. Don't screw up your knees or your hips just to get your foot in this particular position. So do the best you can. And then from there, the right leg is going to walk over to the left, and we theoretically stack our knees. So the shins parallel to the top edge of the mat as much as they can be, the pelvis upright on the floor as much as it can be, and your spine is tall. And if that's not enough, let's add in arms. So take the left arm out in front, elbows bent here. We're going to bring the right arm underneath, weave it between your forearm and your face, and see if your fingers can catch your left hand. Relax into your shoulders, lift your chest here, sit really tall. So we're trying to relax into the hips and shoulders as much as possible and lengthen through the spine. One more breath like that. Releasing your arms. If you like to roll around your shoulders, feel free to do that. So the other fun thing we're going to do, and try not to make this too complicated because it's really not. Leave your legs the way they are, press forward, and come onto your knees. So your hands are in front. We tuck our toes under and lift the knees away from the floor. From there, walk your hands, keep your feet where they are, and walk your hands around to the left. You're going to pivot on your toes, walk toward the back of your mat to the left, keep walking to the left, you're pivoting on your toes, you're rotating around, you're continuing to walk to the left until you're back to the front of your mat. And then you get to drop your knees and sit back on your heels again. Heels, hips. Sorry about that. So maybe our shins are something like parallel to the top edge of the mat. The pelvis is something like upright on the floor. The spine is tall. Wherever you are, the spine is tall. And then here, if you want to add on the arms, the right arm comes forward, the left arm moves under, between, and then maybe the fingers touch here. Relaxing your hips, relaxing your shoulders. Releasing the arms. So now we have to twist on the second side, so maybe adjusting the legs. So Maybe the right heel comes more toward the left hip, and then the left foot is flat to the floor. The right leg can be extended, right, coming more forward instead of more back. Here, we really want the pelvis to be level no matter where the legs are, right? Especially if you're gonna twist. Sit really tall here. Wrap the left arm, the right arm around the leg, and the left arm is like your second spine, right? Supporting your back. Rotating around as much or as little from there as you'd like. And then gently releasing back to the center, unhook your legs. Let them bounce and wiggle. Wipe around the feet, back and forth. Whatever feels good. So let's take the feet flat to the floor. Hang on to your hamstrings and roll on down to your back. Pulling the knees into the chest, just let yourself rock a little bit. Breathe, release the spine. Let's take the feet flat to the floor and cross the right ankle over the left knee. Reach back behind the left thigh here, pulling that leg in toward the chest. I know. Hugging in. If the spine rounds, it rounds. Continue to draw in as deeply as you can. And then keep the arms pulling toward the body, but now use the leg to press back into the hands. And if you didn't feel your spine rounding up away from the floor, see if you can stretch it long again. Releasing that, take both feet flat to the floor again. We will go to the second side. So left ankle over the right knee, reaching back behind the thigh here. Same idea, just drawing in toward the body. And then keep the arms drawing toward the body as you press the leg back into the hands, pushing away and releasing your spine into that neutral place on the floor. We'll release the leg, uncross. From here, opening up the arms into a T position. Picking up the hips, let's take them to the right edge of the mat and drop the knees over to the left. So just let your body relax in this pose. If you wanted to extend the top leg and take your twist a little deeper, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, just really release into the floor. Don't worry about how deep anything feels. See if you can find more sensation of relaxation, almost as if you were in your Shavasana here. Almost. We're going to gently make our way back up to center. And then take the second side, shifting the hips left, letting the knees fall right.
Release into the twist. One more nice big breath. And then bring it back to center. Drawing the knees back into the chest. Let yourself rock. And then squeezing the knees in nice and tight. Pull the forehead toward the knees, rounding through your spine. Releasing into a full body stretch. Let's release the stretch and bring the arms back down by the sides. So if you normally take a seated meditation here, at least for a little bit, I'm going to encourage you to come into Shavasana laying on the floor. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be prompt, right? So if you do want a little stronger your knees, you can take your feet flat to the floor, maybe if that's better for your back. The arms are equally far apart from the body, letting your palms face up so your shoulders can roll back. Release your body into the floor. And for now, release control of your breath. Without changing the breath, keeping the focus here. And you can maybe notice a quality about your breath. Or if it helps, maybe simply count the inhales and the exhales. Any little trick to keep the mind focused solely on the breath. And if you do notice any tension creeping back into the body, get heavy again. Keeping the mind in this place for just a little bit longer. Keeping the eyes closed, focused on the breath. If they're not already, go ahead and bend your knees and take your feet flat to the floor. We're gently going to roll ourselves off to the side, keeping the mind quiet, eyes closed. Gently make your way up to seated. And then sit well. So if that means sitting on a block or propping up against the wall, take that. We're not quite done here. We've got just a little bit more breath work. Sitting tall. Taking the right hand, curl the index, middle, and ring fingers in toward the palm.
And then rotate the palm toward your face. Take a nice big breath in. When you go to exhale, take your thumb and block your right nostril and exhale out the left side. Inhale through the left. Close it off with your pinky, release your thumb, and exhale through the right. Inhale right. Use your thumb to close it, release your pinky, exhale left. So we're going to take a few more flows like that with your own pace, alternating nostril. Taking one more round. When you're through exhaling out the right side, go ahead and release your hand. And as you breathe, see if you can still feel it travel up the right and out the left. Up the left and out the right. One more round. Slowly drawing in a deep cleansing breath all the way down to the bottom lobes of the lungs. And then exhaling that away. And we'll bring the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. So hopefully you feel happy and relaxed and your mind is right. Body is just stretched enough. Right? Remember to shoot me questions, suggestions, poses you'd like to see, things you never want to do again. Right? It doesn't mean you may or may not have to do them, but yeah, just shoot me some feedback. Anything you need from me. Remember to visit anydayyoga.com for more. Check me out on Facebook and YouTube or wherever you're watching now. Have a great weekend. Maybe it'll be sunny. Enjoy it, you guys. Bye. Thank you.